Hail and well met, fellow travelers. 'Tis I, Bones McKay. We're doing a video, a Monday video. We all know what that means. We don't. This is my first one of this genre. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm recording this for the second time because I hate my cats. Okay, what happened was that I did all my recording. I was ready. I was living it up. I was gonna sit down and do a little tap, whatever, like edit the video. Started doing that. The audio was atrocious. The reason being that my cats have chewed up my headphones. Love it. They chewed up the cord so that the audio wasn't fully coming through. So like when I'm recording, right, I have an audio channel that goes into my ears. So I know that the audio that I'm outputting isn't atrocious. Not the case this time, no, because my cats chewed it up and the signal was all weird, so I missed every single plosive, and they were insane, okay? Like it didn't look so bad, like on the computer screen. It looked fine to me. Like the wave files look fine. They weren't. They were terrible. So I'm saving your ears. Bless me. I'm a saint. Thank you. So Monday. My plan for Mondays is to do less of those typical like advice videos that I do, less of those comic book art learning advice. I want to keep doing that, of course. That's the bread and butter, but this is a treat for me, okay? So Mondays I wanted to be less rigid, talk a little more about specifically what's on my mind. I'm assuming mostly comic book stuff. Might as well keep it all on brand or YouTube might hit me. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll skitter off in another direction. Who knows? But the point is, Monday is for me. It's my Monday. Mondays suck, so let me have something good. So what is on my mind? I've been thinking a lot about YouTube, and I've been thinking a lot about Webtoon, so I've got some ideas. So like, one thing that happens is that I have a stream audience, and then I have like a video audience. And there's definitely a Venn diagram, and some of the most dedicated people are definitely in the middle. So they're gonna hear this and be like, what? You've already talked about all these things. However, not true. Well, I guess in the future, they'll be like that. But there's like a lot of people who will miss out on details and happenings and going-ons because I only talk about them in stream and then forget to bring it over to the video side of things. And I understand that those are two very different types of viewers, you know? Like, if you're watching videos, you probably want something more cut up. Maybe you also want some of the channel lore, the happenings, the happening things on the channel. So I think that's another good opportunity for Monday. So like one thing I was thinking about for YouTube was like if I should do critiques or not. Let me explain. So on the last week of every month, we do 1 or 2 critique streams. It all depends on how many people have signed up for it. This critique stream is paid for by patrons. It's really important for the channel. It pays my phone bill. Good. I'm not gonna mess with that. However, I know there's people who can't pay and who definitely are interested in that sort of thing. And I was thinking that it might be mutually beneficial if I started a critique channel on the Discord where you could post art and stuff you wanted me to critique in a video, me or Ursula to critique, and I could use them as some jumping off points to talk about like different art stuff. So it like might not be like specifically a critique of you. It'd be like a critique of your art, but as a more broad lesson, if that makes sense. So that's something I am considering doing because I like doing that with Ursula because we did that scene breakdown. And I use that to talk about writing scene 1. So yeah, and if you want like a more personalized, guaranteed critique experience, like the Patreon would still be a thing. So that's something that is on my mind as a possibility. Another thing is like there's the question section of our Discord where you can ask a question that you would like to see as like a video topic, like topics for videos, I think that's what it's called, I think it'd be good to put your hyper specific questions in there. And if I'm feeling it on a Monday, I might go through those, do a little Q&A sesh. The last little bit of YouTube stuff before I get into other topics, I would love if you would subscribe to the channel. Putting out videos has been great for my view count and stuff. It's exciting to see that go up, and in a way it's been exciting to look at my subscriber count. So for the first time ever, which is surprising, my subscriber gain is in the negative. So now I'm at a loss. I'm a net loss for subscribers this month, which is so different. I've been getting a consistent subscriber gain through all of this time I've not been posting, and to start posting and to have the subscriber count go down, it's not upsetting. It's pretty nice as a feeling, because that means people are definitely getting the videos and they are deciding to unsubscribe. They wouldn't be unsubscribing suddenly in such a burst if not for the fact that these videos are showing up in their feeds and they would like to unsubscribe. But if you're not subscribed and you would like to be, and you would like to support this, please do, okay? Because we need to offset this a little bit. I don't imagine a lot of new people are going to be watching this video. If you are new and this is your first video, please comment. I'm fascinated by people who watch these videos as their first. Some of you have the most wild first video experiences, and it's crazy. It's just crazy to me. One of you showed up, your first encounter with me was a video that only had 50 views, and you're that's the first one I saw. And I'm how is this the one? You're a new subscriber. How did that possibly happen? Yeah, so I'm interested in that. I'm also just interested in general of your opinions on all that is being discussed here. Comments really help a whole bunch at promoting the video, wildly so. It's wild. It also just boosts my heart, which is the most important thing in all of this, is to boost my heart vibes, not rhythm. We're not gonna make my heart go ridiculously fast. We just wanna boost it in a friendship, loving kind of way, less a little more metaphorical. That's the word I'm looking for. What's the other thing? Hitting the bell. I don't know what that does. You can do it, I guess, if you want. Yeah, and liking the video. Liking is so weird. It's so weird. I don't understand it. I don't understand why that's a thing that helps. I remember back in the day when it was stars. That's how old I am. That's how long I've been on the YouTube game. I recently found my oldest YouTube content. Most of it had been removed from YouTube. I just deleted it. I wish I hadn't. I wish I would just have privated a lot of it. I understand why, because it was a lot of copyright claims, and I think back in the day what would happen with copyright claims is they would just take the sound out of the video. So I think I had a bunch of muted videos, and I didn't really care for that. But yeah, it was an AMV, which is an anime music video. It wasn't really anime. I would only ever use Final Fantasy. I don't play Final Fantasy. I've never played a Final Fantasy. Okay, I've played them, but I've never gone far in them. I just loved the aesthetics, and I would just use the videos to make my own stories. A lot of the time it was AVO, I will admit, and I would take a song and I would use the different characters from Final Fantasy cutscenes to kind of make my own little stories. So I found some of those, and that had me screaming. Right, I mentioned AVO. That's what I was gonna talk about today. That's what's being drawn here, is AVO. And if you don't know, if you're one of those people who somehow found this very niche video of mine and are jumping in for the first time, AVO is my novel, one of my novels. I am an author. I did my first author reading. It was so crazy. I was shaking with nerves, literally. But yes, I am an author. AVO is my second book to release, but it is the first story that I ever worked on. It is super dear to my heart. I started it when I was 12 years old, and now it is published for the first time. Crazy, wild, I know. For those who don't know the not the lore, what is it? The pitch for Avo. Yes, the pitch for Avo is that it is Aragon crossed with the Great Gatsby, but it is very explicitly gay. I need to start saying explicitly gay because Gatsby's little gay, okay? Little bit gay. Not gonna delve too deep into that, but that is some gay vibes if I've ever seen them. Yeah, and like Aragon, like it's Dragon Rider, I guess, and I wrote it when I was a child. So what is being worked on in this video is Avo related. So I did a Kickstarter for Avo a bit ago, and today I will be sending out the ebooks. Then I have to get into printing, blah 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 blah, whatever. So I had this idea that I was gonna make a webtoonized version of my novel of Avo. Not exactly like completely webtoonized in a traditional sense, because webtoons are a lot of work, and I already do a lot of work. And Ursula does an extreme amount of work. Ursula being the illustrator. Yeah, like webtoons are a lot of work. I want to leverage all of the work that I already have done in order to share my story more. Because like Avo means a lot to me, and I want to widen the reach of it and offer a free version of it, sort of in the same way that I do for all of my comics, where I have a graphic novel version and a webtoons version. The webtoons is the free one, and it's in the more vertical scrolling style, and the graphic novel one is a graphic novel. I hope I don't have to explain the concept. Avo is already done. It's an illustrated novel, and it has these beautiful, amazing hand-done illustrations, like all done in watercolor. So pretty, so much work. Makes for like a beautiful illustrated novel. Doesn't make for a great webtoon because it took like a year to draw all of those. We're already working so hard on getting Magpie done, slowly chipping away at the Scourge of 9 Point. And I would really like to have more of my work out there. And the thing is that novels are great, but they're not really accessible for a lot of you guys, right? Like a lot of you are more into like the artistic medium, which is fine, perfectly acceptable. I understand. I'm not really a huge reader myself. So I was thinking of how to make my work more accessible to an audience that's more visual, and that's when I came up with like this webtoonized version that I'm doing, and I'm hoping it'll go well because I'd love to, one, like share my work more, and two, get feedback. I don't mean critique, but I just love when you do a webtoon and you have all of those comments and things. Yeah, I love having comments. I don't know, they just make me happy. I don't think I could YouTube if I didn't like comments. Yeah, so like I want interactivity, more of a back and forth with my audience, and Webtoon gives that a lot more. However, like I said, a Webtoon is a lot of work, like a lot. And for those that can get out like a super consistent Webtoon all the time, they either put in an insane amount of work, they cut corners, or they have a team. I'm a team of 2, and only one of the team is an artist, so that doesn't really work. And time, don't have a lot of that. Like I said, I have so many other projects on the go. On top of it all, like I have YouTube as well, like that I want to get back into. So that's like your time gets spread thinner and thinner. So cutting corners, that's where it leaves us at. And yes, I plan to cut many corners with this webtoon. What is the phrasing? Work smarter, not harder. That's kind of it. The thing with Magpie and the thing with 9 Point, which are my comics, my graphic novels, whatever, is at the end of working on them, I end up with like these beautiful graphic novels that I love and can sell, and I feel proud charging money for, which is why I don't really do really simplified, sketchy, quick webtoons. I just want something that's really pretty at the end and I feel really, really proud of. But with my novel, I'm really proud of all of the writing, right? And I already have an illustrated version of this that's super beautiful and I'm super proud to be selling, which leaves space for a more sketchy kind of webtoon version that's like more focused on, like I said, it's more about sharing the work in a more accessible format than it is creating like the best work that I've ever done, right? I think the writing is strong, and from there I just want to translate that. So the way that I'm kind of planning to do that is to make it heavily illustrated to break up the paragraphs. Like, I'm not gonna cut most, if any, of the writing, right? It's not really gonna be an abridged version. The only like abridging that's kind of going to happen is through dialogue tags, like he said, she said. Like, I'm planning to do some like speech bubbles instead of that, but I find that's more like a translation thing rather than an abridging sort of thing. So yeah, that's kind of my goal, is to create an illustrated, spread out, easier to read. I understand the feeling of like looking at like walls of text and being really overwhelmed, and that's why I want to like spread it out and add pictures between and really just engage the readers more, if that makes sense. And that's kind of my goal at the end of the day. Like, that's what this webtoon is going to be. So it's going to be pretty text heavy for a webtoon, but I'm going to try and make it more accessible. Text heavy webtoon, but a very visual, spaced out novel. So that's what's being worked on right now. Okay. And that's the catalyst for all of my talking today, is like, I wanted to talk about my character. And I mostly wanted to talk about him because we're illustrating the prologue right now, and the prologue has never been illustrated before. And the prologue has my boy, Luul, in it. And also, the prologue takes place in the past. So this is kind of minor spoilers, especially if you're reading the illustrated novel and not the Webtoons version. In the Webtoons version, this isn't so much a spoiler at all because the visuals kind of give it away. However, even in the case of the actual illustrated novel, it's not that much of a spoiler by any means, okay? Like, I think it's all revealed by like chapter 3, so it's really early into it. So what kind of happens is that in the prologue we meet Luul, and then we move forward and we meet Master Whiteheart, and then it's eventually put together that they are the same person. That's kind of the spoiler. So Master Whiteheart and Luul are the same person, and I think a lot of you already knew that. However, if you know that and you go into the prologue, then it's pretty easy to figure out what's going on here, because the prologue takes place 300 years in the past and we're still with Luul. So basically the spoiler is that Luul is immortal. More on that later. So I was laughing my little gay butt off at this design for Luul, because we have to go like 300 years in the past, which is the 1620s. So we had to design 1620s Luul, and Ursula was like crying laughing while she was designing him and his puffy pants. Same, however, totally has grown on me. I love him. He's my boy. I'll love him forever, no matter what. I accept him. You know, he's an evil boy, so like the bar is low, okay? There's nothing he can do wrong. Okay, there's probably something he can do wrong, but he would never do it, you know? Because he's my boy. When I was thinking about doing these Monday talks, I was like, oh, I should do a video on Luul. And the reason that I thought that was I've done one video on Luul already, and I'll link that right here, right now. And in that video, I had a great time talking about my favorite OC. In case you didn't know, that is the boy, Luul. He's my favorite. Everyone has their favorite and they torment them greatly, and that is me and Luul. And I was thinking, like, okay, what kind of topics should I talk about on Monday? And Monday came and I was like, shoot, I cannot do a Luul video because I already have one. However, I have like 3, 10, maybe 15 videos on how to start your webcomic. And if I'm allowed to do that for you guys, because that's what YouTube desires, like I can do a second Luul video. I can talk about him as much as I want. So I'm going to. Probably just a little bit, because this video is getting ridiculously long. And like, I don't know, I just love this character and I love talking about him and I love seeing pictures of him. I think part of it is just like, he's been around in my mind for so long. I think he came around when I was in like middle school, so he's gone through a lot of like character development and change, and I don't know, I love this specific type of character because whenever I have this type of character, like there's like an archetype to it, and I just love like the smarmy sad boy who's evil. Evil is like a bonus, right? Who's up to mischief and chaos. He's like faux self-obsessed. Like I love all of these traits in a character, and Luul is just my distillation of that. And there's this other trait to him, right? Because like he's immortal, and I haven't really got to talk about that because I've been hiding it from you. And like one of my favorite tropes is just, it's usually vampires, right? Like vampires that live and pretend to be human and have like just a bop, right? That's Luul. He's one of those characters that has a mortal sona, and I stan a character with a mortal sona, right? Especially if it's a fun one. He's immortal, but he's living the life. He's living like a Gatsby life. He's actually like involved in like, you know, crime and whatever. Crime and whatever. You know, 1920s gangster, let's go. He's vibing. He's having a blast. He's pretending to be mortal. He's doing all the things you do when you're pretending to be mortal, like eating food and sleeping all the time. Like he's just having a blast. And I love that. I love that for him. However, he's also a sad boy, which we also, you know, it's part of the package. We need the sad boy, right? So Luul has a girlfriend. Well, had a girlfriend. She's actually the Avo equivalent of the Grim Reaper, and she betrayed the God of Shadows and was killed. Funny, right? He cries. He cries about this, and he's sad. But yeah, like, what happened is the spirit of death, Lenora, his girlfriend, she betrayed the God of Shadows, and in his anger, in the Shadow God's anger, he struck all of his spirits and scarred them. And Luul, guess what? He's a spirit. What does that mean? Let me explain. So like spirits in Avo. So there's like elves, angels, dragons, and they're like your classic kind of immortals. There's like a bunch of them. Well, not so many with the elves because there was a genocide. However, you know, there's lots of angels. They're just kind of, they're not biblical, if that makes sense. They're not godly in any way. They're just immortals with wings. And dragons are like dragon shifters, basically. And they're also immortal. Then there are spirits, and there are only 70. Only. There's 70 of them, because there's 7 gods in Avo. And they each made 10 spirits. And kind of the crux of Avo, like, is the titular books of Avo. Basically, the laws of the universe are, like, legitimately just written down in books. And the spirits and gods did that. And the gods made spirits to help them write them. And each of them has kind of, like, a topic they focused on. And Lenora, you know, like spirit of death, she wrote about death, and she wrote all the laws of death. And then she worked with other people because there's like crossover, right? Like everything knits together. And they did this because there was a lot of fighting with the gods, You know, one would make one thing, the other would destroy it. And to kind of like establish peace, they decided to make these books. And at the end of the books, they were all supposed to give up their power and just kind of leave the world to be as it is. Luul's final form that he decides upon is to be mortal in appearance. Obviously, he is immortal in everything else, and there are very few spirits that chose mortal sonas, because you could be anything. There's like a cat with wings, there's a bear with star fur, there's a lot of angels, but Luul, just a mortal. He's got the little round ears. That's like the only difference. And like, you know what, that's valid. You know, if you give a boy some pointy ears, a little bit of fur, they're a cat boy, and that's special. In the world of Avo, you know, mortal sona, cute, quaint, you know? It's like being a cat boy. Luul's not a cat boy. Anyways, we stan a cat boy. Atalo, God of Shadows, didn't want to do that, tried to be sneaky, ended up imprisoned, and, you know, he totally never came back, and he totally didn't come back and kill all of the elves. Like, he would never do such a thing. But we're not talking about him. Basically, he's like, he's the one that created Luul. He's me. I'm Atalo. I killed all the elves. But yeah, he's the one who scarred Luul and killed his girlfriend and is his dad. And we love that, okay? We all love that. Because we need, when you make an OC, you need to give them a backstory like that. Yeah, and I'm just excited to see more pictures of him and have more profile picture opportunities. Currently, my profile picture is of Atalo because Ursula drew him. He's in shadows, so we don't really get the full scope of him, but he's there. Back on the topic of like making it accessible, it's like I want to like expand the audience. And I want to be able to talk about these things and have people understand and be interested. But another part is that there are 70 spirits, right? And there are 7 gods. And there is also the great goddess Avo, who's like the god of all gods. Like, she's the one that created the gods to begin with. So that means there are 78 gods and spirits in the Avo pantheon. 78? That's how many cards are in a tarot deck, which means I need to make the Avo tarot deck. And in order to do this, I need people to be invested like I am, so I can get the money and make the Avo tarot deck. So this is why we must continue to spread the gospel of Luul and worship my boy and be hype together. I really appreciate you, especially if you listen to all this. Like, you are a doll. Yeah, so this is kind of my Monday plans, is to chit-chat away about like these kind of things. Right now, because we're doing like all of the ebooks, all of the printing, all of the work on this Webtoon version, like I'm really into it. I'm always like a little about Luul, but other characters do like take up my mind at times, or I work on like role plays with Ursula, and I would love to talk about them. Like, I love doing the character videos, and I thought it'd be great to have like a Monday to do that. And I'm sure there's other things I'll want to talk about, but for the most part, like, I just want to make sure there is a time where I can, you know, in the same way where I want like an accessible webtoon, like I want a more accessible place to learn about all my characters and nonsense other than my live streams, because they're so long and there's no editing, and I understand. So thank you for watching. Yeah, if you have questions about writing or about my story, I would love for that. If you ask questions in the comments, I will tippy tap type answers, or I will save them for talking about next Monday. Comments are really appreciated. I know they do a lot for the algorithm. More than anything, they make me happy, and I love them. Even if you have nothing interesting to say, just sending a little heart in the comments means the world to me. And if you can't do that, leaving a like. Blessed. Love it. Love a like. And yeah, subscribers are cool too. I'm not sure about the bell. I don't know how I feel about it. Right. This is way too long. We're broaching 40 minutes unedited, so we're gonna stop for now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. How the frick do I stop this?